activists have now been arrested in the United States for attempting to shut down 5 pipelines carrying Canadian oil sands crude from North Dakota to the U.S. Gulf Coast. Activist group Climate Direct Action has proudly taken responsibility for these acts of cutting chains in order to access the infrastructure to manually shut down the Express pipeline in Montana and bridges lines 4 and 67, Keystone and Trans Mountain. Make no mistake, this is an act of sabotage and eco-terrorism. Spontaneous shutdowns of pipelines are a danger to society and to the environment. No big deal, right? I'm not totally up to speed on American regulations, but here in Canada, you can't even set foot on these leases without the proper safety requirements, and there would be security systems and measures to get past. But these activists waltz in with a pair of bolt cutters and they're good to go. These extremists always downplay these risks and are never faced with serious consequences. The slap on the wrist is never enough to scare away future eco-terrorists, and that's why we continue to see these erratic and threatening behaviors from these types. They continually get away from having to take any responsibility for the dangers that they impose and force upon the public. Compare this to the Oregon standoff earlier this year, where a group of armed protesters occupied an abandoned national wildlife refuge to demonstrate against federal land use restrictions. This wasn't the first demonstration involving the Bundy family of cowboys based in Nevada, who have been fighting for land rights using the constitutional argument that it's a requirement for federal public land to be turned over to individual states. The standoff ended in a militant-style assault by the Oregon State Police and the FBI when protester Robert Lavoy Finicum was shot and killed for resisting arrest and for apparently reaching for his firearm, although reports are conflicting on that incident. A sit-in at this empty wildlife refuge resulted in the death of one of these protesters at the hands of law enforcement, while a slap on the wrist is what's in order for a group of activists that completely shut down not 1, but 5 economic vehicles that are used to provide an entire country with energy resources. How can this be explained? Well, we're talking about a country under the guidance of Barack Obama, who actually demonized Alberta pipelines by claiming that an extension of the already in place Keystone pipeline would forward catastrophic climate change. These politicians give activists a license to engage in dangerous acts if it involves their favorite issues. And right here in Alberta, we have an activist premier that used to stand on the steps of the Alberta legislature protesting pipelines. This picture of her at one of those protests is forever ingrained into my memory. In the case of Obama, he blocks our pipelines in the interest of America becoming energy independent. In the case of Rachel Notley, she just hates the oil and gas industry based solely on ideology. The only difference from her days as an NDP activist is now she's inside the boardroom. For the Rebel.media, I'm Holly Nicholas. Thanks so much for watching. Do you like our content? If you do, don't forget to click the link below so that you don't miss out on any of the Rebels updates.